Fellow landlords, a major lawsuit was filed in New York State Supreme Court, County of New York, on December 13, 2021. For those of you who do not know this, the County of New York is one of the most left-leaning liberal counties in the state of New York. Now, if the plaintiffs in this case prevail, it will spell disaster for landlords all across New York State. How this is that for many areas of New York, you will not legally be able to evict your tenants until Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas 2022. And for other areas of New York, that would be Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas 2023. This lawsuit was brought against the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance by two organizations and four human plaintiffs. The attorneys representing these entities is the New York State Legal Aid Society. And the crux of their lawsuit is that this New York State office did not have the legal right or authority on November 15th to shut down the Emergency Rental Assistance Program application portal, thus preventing tens and thousands of tenants from applying for this money through ERAP to pay their back rent. Well, the situation being is it was shut down because ERAP has no more money. Where do they think the money is going to come from? Well, we're going to tell you that in a moment or two. But the crux of it is based on this. In their 20-page lawsuit that was filed, they claim this. Pursuant to the statute, eviction proceedings against applicants for ERAP are staying pending a decision on their application. We've stated this before, that ERAP is another form of an eviction moratorium, and they clearly state that here. They go on further, when the state eviction moratorium expires by its own terms on January 15, 2022, tenants with pending ERAP applications will still be protected. See, like I said earlier, ERAP, an eviction moratorium, that's all it is. However, due to respondents' unlawful action, families who otherwise could have applied for ERAP will be vulnerable to eviction as of January 15th. Well, landlords, I'm going to give you a little tidbit here. The four humans who filed this lawsuit, all four of them owed money during this entire process that ERAP has been open from June 1st till November 15th. 5.5 months. In that duration of time, they owed rent money, but yet they never applied for ERAP. Now, we're not going to get into the biographies and the histories of these tenants who applied or have filed this lawsuit, but we're going to do that very shortly, very, very shortly in another video to exploit and expose these tenants who are crying foul when in fact they should only be upset with themselves. Now they go on to state in their lawsuit, Section 8 of the ERAP law. The ERAP provides for the following. Restrictions on eviction. Eviction proceedings for a holdover or expired lease, or non-payment of rent or utilities will be eligible for coverage under this program, shall not be commenced against the household who has applied for this program unless or until a determination of ineligibility is made. If such eviction proceedings are commenced against the household who subsequently applies for benefits under this program, all proceedings shall be stayed pending a determination of eligibility. Again, an eviction moratorium. Evidence of a payment received pursuant to this act may be presented in such proceeding and create a presumption that the tenants or occupant's rent or utility obligation for the time period covered for the payment has been fully satisfied. We said this in prior videos, and we're saying it again right now, that this ERAP, they know full well there's no money left, but they still want people to be able to apply to stop any and all evictions that may be commenced against them, even though they know there's no money there. Now, they go on to say that the state has applied for additional monies, and we know they have. We know they have in November of 2021, Kathy Hochul sent in a request for more money to the Biden administration. Now, their statement of facts in their case is this. As of December 10, 2021, over 2.8 million New Yorkers have tested positive for COVID-10, and over 57,000 have died from the disease. Yes, you heard right. I did not make a mistake here. Have tested positive for COVID-10. It says it right in the lawsuit. It says it right here. COVID-10. Now, here's the irony. The resource for this information that they cite in their lawsuit is an article in the New York Times. So they called this information for their lawsuit, rather than from a state bona fide agency, organization, New York State Department of Health, whatever it might be. They cite the New York Times for this information. Now, did the New York Times have COVID-10? Or did the Legal Aid Society put in COVID-10 as the cause of why all of this is happening? Who knows? Who knows? But the fact that they claim that 2.8 million New Yorkers have had it and 57,000 have died, yes, as awful as that is, it is, but should it have stopped all these evictions and stopped all of what's been happening? We're going to discuss that momentarily. Now, the ERAP, as we know, closed on November 15, 2021. They go on to claim that the respondent announced that it had requested an additional $996 billion from the Treasury Department as part of the reallocation process. Again, $996 billion? No, that's $1 million. But in the lawsuit, it says $996 billion. Now, when they're talking about the reallocation process, that is for states that did not expend 65% or allocate the monies that were provided to them under the American Rescue Plan. That money then has to go back to the U.S. Treasury to be redistributed, reallocated. That is not going to happen until March of 2022. And then when that money does get put back into the Treasury, you're going to have committees and subcommittees and subcommittees and committees on subcommittees to decide the allocation of this money and what states get it and how much. When would that be? Months down the line? July, August, September, November of 2022 before monies are given to the states? And in the meantime, we landlords are still out all of this rent money. And even if it's allocated, there's no proof that we're going to get any of that money. We've seen tenants who have applied, and landlords who have applied already for ERAP, and 7 months later, they have nothing. Over 7 months later, June 1st, this is in the middle of December, and they still don't know they're getting any money. So if this is going to continue on for another 8, 10, 12 months, and now they say, oh, sorry, there's no money, or you don't qualify. Now, we landlords are out another year's worth of rent. No money collected, but yet our taxes are due, our repairs are due, our mortgages are due, our insurances are due, our repairs are due that we don't do because we have no money, but yet we're cited and ticketed by the city, the town, the village. You have to pay a fine for that. But do they care? No. They go on to say that over 430,000 potential applicants remain in rent arrears. Upon the expiration of the COVID Emergency Eviction and Foreclosure Prevention Act on January 15, 2022, all of these tenants will become vulnerable to losing their homes. Legal Aid Society, get this in your head. We have said this for months and months and months. These tenants are not losing their homes at all. It is the deeded owner that is losing their home, not the tenants. The tenants, this is their domicile. On a 30-day or 31-day cycle when they pay the rent to the landlord for the right to stay in that apartment, that house, that will, whatever you may call it, they have that right, but they're going to pay. So at the end of the day, the tenants are not losing their home, they're losing geography. They have to move a block away, 2 blocks away, 18, who cares? They have to move away. In the meantime, the landlords are left hanging by a thread and hoping that they can climb over that cliff and save themselves and their home before that little string breaks and they lose it all. So legal aid, don't say they're losing their home, because that's an insult to us landlords. It really is. We're the ones losing our home, not the tenants. Now, they mentioned 430 potential applicants, but then later on in the lawsuit, they claim 591,000 New Yorkers currently owe rent from their landlords and are eligible for ERAP. So is it over 430,000 or is it 591,000? Even by those numbers, either one, this is a clear illustration that so many of us landlords are owed rent money from these tenants and we're not getting anything, even though many of them have the ability to pay. Now, the supervising attorney who filed this lawsuit went on to say the following. It's insulting, landlords, but hear it out. Denying New Yorkers the ability to apply for desperately needed rent relief during the ongoing pandemic is cruel and will only exacerbate the public health and economic crisis we are facing, said N. Josephson of the Legal Aid Society. And I'm not on the board that gives out Pulitzer Prizes in fiction. If I was, I would absolutely give you the Pulitzer Prize in fiction just for that comment, that quote alone. We talk about the public health crisis. No. The same tenants that you claim are facing this crisis of health are the same ones that are at the malls, the grocery stores, the gas stations, the convenience stores, the sporting events, the casinos, and concert halls, attending all these venues, having a grand old time, spending the money, not giving it to the landlord, and yet you're calling it a health crisis. And you're calling it an economic crisis. Stop, okay? And it's a joke. The economic crisis is upon us landlords, not the tenants. When the tenants owe $18,000, $20,000, our office just processed an eviction in our area when the tenants owe $30,000 in rent. In our area, that is a lot of money. It represents many months of unpaid rent. And in that case, there were 3 adults not paying the rent whatsoever. Another one, $17,000 in rent, no rent paid whatsoever, and the tenant felt that she was being harassed by our process server and by the landlord by being served court papers that she's got to come to court for not paying rent. And the same person, as a side note, has been evicted by our office on behalf of our clients 3 different times from 3 different locations for not paying the rent, and now this is the 4th time. This lawsuit must be defeated. We ask that you share this video right now with your legislators and tell them that this cannot happen. Even though in New York City, the legislators there, the Senator Brian Kavanaugh, the Jeff Dinowitz, those people there are absolutely in favor of this, as well as Linda Rosenthal, chair of the Committee on Social Services. She also, on the New York City Assembly, is all for this. We have to let our voices be heard, and we have to let our voices be heard right now. We have got to stop this lawsuit. We have got to share this information so that it does not continue. If this happens, you landlords and myself will see our tenants for another year or 2 on a property with no money given to us if ERAP is allowed to open. They know that this eviction moratorium is set to end December 15th, 2022. And January 15th, and we hope that it does. And therefore they're grappling for ERAP because they know that that's the other type of an eviction moratorium, even though there's no money there. They know that. And that's why they're banking on the judges and the the New York State Supreme Court to vote in favor of this lawsuit and allow these plaintiffs to win. Landlords, we ask that you subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so that you can be made aware of future videos that we have, and share this video with everybody. And again, landlords, thank you for subscribing to our channel. And until then, take care.